we're going to move into strategies. So one of the most important strategies, in my opinion, is the performance objectives. I feel like out of all the strategies that I've seen them question on, I do see performance objectives come up the most. And you can kind of link this to every single other strategy. So basically, performance objectives are the goals that relate to particular aspects of the transformation process, which is just producing a product and turning it from an input to an output. They represent targets the business wishes to obtain to become more efficient, productive, and profitable. So, if they want to become more efficient, they want to become more productive, so they're working faster and they want to make more profit. A business in their transformation and when they're producing a product, they want to focus on the quality of the product, the flexibility of the product, the customization of the product, the speed of the product, the cost of the product, and how much they can depend on that product. So, these are the 6 criterias and the 6 objectives that they're really trying to aim for. So for the performance objectives, I really recommend just understanding like a definition of each of the 6, and then just being able to briefly explain them, because most of the time you're going to be connecting this to either the hypothetical business in the business report or to a real business, and maybe talking about the quality of Qantas planes or the cost of a certain good. So in terms of quality, the definition we've got here is how well designed, made, and functional goods are, and the degree of competence with which services are organized and delivered. So again, you guys know what quality is, and this one's a really easy one to connect. But the 3 main quality performance objectives include the quality of design, the quality of conformance, and the quality of surface, and how you can assess that. For example, if you're looking at quality of a Kmart bag versus a Louis Vuitton bag, like that's one way that you can see the difference in objectives. And obviously Louis Vuitton can really vouch for quality, which is why they are then charging that higher price, while Kmart doesn't have that same push, but they can charge cheaper, and they do as a result get a lot of customers for that reason. So quality can really have an impact on the product, on its marketing, but overall on obviously on the production, the type of materials that you're using, but also how long it takes to make. Now, dependability is how consistent and reliable a business products are. So in terms of goods, durability refers to how long the products can be useful before they failed, which is measured through the amount of warranty claims made. But for services, durability and dependability is the consistency of service and its reliability, which is measured through the number of complaints received. So for dependability, I think a lot of Lululemon. I'm not sure if any of you guys own, but I've had Lululemon jackets and tights for years that wash and are still brand new. And it is known as a really high dependable business, and they have a really good returns policy. As well, in terms of services, it's measured through the numbers of complaints made. So obviously, if you're going to, a new nail salon or a new hair place to get a haircut, a lot of the time, and I know I do, I always look at the reviews, and if it's not good reviews, same when I go to eat, if there's, if it's not reviewed very well, or a store has like really high level of complaints, I don't really see it as a dependable business. They don't seem very consistent, nor do they seem very reliable. So again, when it's a service or a good, it's going to differ how you can measure that dependability. But all of this is stuff that we're used to. Like, you can already now tell me, and you can probably think in your head, what's a dependable good that you own, and what's something that's lasted and very reliable and very consistent, and then what's a dependable service. You probably already know that, but again, when you think of that, and when we think of that normally, we wouldn't link that to dependability. That's not the exact word we'd maybe use. We'd maybe just say how reliable it is, or how consistent, or like the quality. But this is why knowing the syllabus is so important, because a lot of these ideas, like I said, and a lot of people make jokes about it, I do all the time as well. Most of business studies is common sense. Most of it is everything that we're already aware of. Most of it's scenarios and kind of connections that we have already had in our real life with real businesses, but not in those terms. Like, I don't hold my Lululemon jacket and think, wow, this is such a durable, dependable product. This performance objective is being achieved successfully when I look at it. But when I directly see the syllabus, and when I'm thinking of the syllabus, then I can connect it. So I think being able to connect it to real life examples is very important, but just realizing that you already know most of this stuff. You already will know most of the content, and will be like, oh yeah, I this reminds me of this business. Oh yeah, I remember when I was a customer, and I remember this ad. And a lot of the stuff we're going to go through makes complete sense, and you're like, it's going to have that clicking moment for you, but you need to be able to connect it to the syllabus, and we already know what it is. You could probably read through the syllabus now and think, what does any of this mean? but over, I'd say at least 70%, you guys will already know. You guys are already aware of, you guys already know it. You just don't know it by that name and by the kind of terminology and like the business glossary that they're using. So, like I said, in business, one of the best things is that a lot of it's common sense, which means a lot of it, not necessarily that you're waffling, but like on the low key you are, because you already know what it is. You can kind of define it. You can already give real life examples. I literally wrote about Mecca um, and the beauty loop in my business HSC exam because it's part and it connects to one of the topics in marketing. But again, like if I didn't know the syllabus, and I wouldn't be able to connect it in that way, and I would have never even thought that they connected. But being able to connect your own ideas and your own understandings to the syllabus and realizing that the syllabus, we already know it. It's just memorizing those terms, because if you don't write the right word, you can't, like, you guys already know performance objectives and you could kind of guess what's important when you're making a product. Like the cost is obviously important, the dependability, the quality, but you might not use those words. But the syllabus and the way that the paper is structured is that if you don't use those words, you're not getting the mark. So if you're not answering per the syllabus, even if you're writing the right content, if you don't identify the right word, the right dot point, you lose a mark automatically. So it's not worth it. And which is why I was going to say last time, I'll say it, but it's definitely not the last time. But memorizing syllabus is so important. Let's keep going on. So, flexibility is how quickly the operations process can adjust to changes in the market. So, time and flexibility are very interrelated because a faster processing time results in a greater likelihood that processes can be adjusted quickly. Flexibility can best be achieved by increasing the capacity of production by implementing leading edge technologies. So, leading edge technologies are the most brand new technologies. Compared to technologies that have been around for a while. So, for example, leading edge technologies are definitely like self-serve checkouts at like Woolworths and Coles. Also, leading edge is the self-serve at Macca's compared to the traditional like cash register. Um, but yeah, flexibility is how quickly they can adjust to changes in the markets, and changes in the markets and trends. Like you guys see on TikTok, like every couple of days there's a couple new, like there's new sounds. Like you can't use a popular song from like 2 weeks ago because it's already out of date. It's exactly the same in the business market, and how quickly trends are changing, how quickly customers are changing, what their preferences are. So flexibility is just how quickly you can kind of change your processes to quickly match that. Now, speed is the amount of time taken for the production and operations process to respond to changes in market demand. So it aims to satisfy customer demands as quickly as possible through reduced wait times, shorter lead times, and faster processing times. So reduced wait times is very, very important, especially when we're talking about services. For example, like I've gone to get my nails done. I've got to stop using the nail salon as an example, but I've gone to get my nails done, and sometimes I'm like waiting over an hour. Or same if I'm going to get my eyebrows threaded, and you know when you're sitting there for half an hour and you're just so annoyed. And sometimes I've literally just gotten up and left because they say like, oh, 10-minute wait, and then you know you're there for an hour. So that's why in terms of the transformation process, it's so important that speed is taken into consideration, because realistically us humans don't have too much patience, and if they do have those reduced wait times, they've got the faster processing times. Same when you know you call like Telstra, for example, and you're on the phone, or you call Commonwealth Bank, or you know you're on one of those service ones and they put you on hold and they play that annoying music and you're just sitting there like waiting for an hour. My dad once was on the phone with Telstra for 4 hours and like no response, just that annoying song the whole time, and the ads, and that like robotic voice. All of that and that processing time affects the consumer experience, but it just limits profits altogether because people are leaving. It also lowers the business reputation because people get very frustrated and they can't really rely on this business. So speed is so, so important. And just how quickly a service like is given to you and like can be completed, but also how quickly the market is responding to different demands. So that's kind of an example. I'm trying to think of an example. It's like when a business comes out with products to respond. So a lot of activewear companies do that a lot, where they'll see their consumers and their customers requesting for a certain look, and then they'll do it. I'm not sure if you guys know Emco Beauty. They sell it at Woolworths. But I'm sure quite a few of you watching this would know them. They're a makeup brand, but they're very, very big on TikTok, and they're very big in kind of connecting with their customers. So they use their TikTok as a way to like communicate with their customers and to kind of see what they want. And customers will comment, please like bring this, please bring that. And they've had like new products made within like a month. They just came out with these like bronzing drops. And yeah, people were asking for them right before, and within a month they're like, we heard you, and they responded to a comment like, look what we've made. And it was exactly what they asked, because that was what was demanded in the market. So it's how quickly you can respond to that. Other businesses might take a year to respond to that, but by the time they respond to what their customers want, their customers already want a new thing. You look at us, like every single day, like there's a new thing we want to buy. The wish list is always changing, always getting longer. So being able to quickly respond to those changes is very, very important. Now, customization refers to the creation of individualized products to meet specific customer needs. So, variation in product features such as color, size, and functionality offer high levels of differentiation in comparison to its competitors, and the costs of customization are higher than the cost of mass producing standardized products, which is why if you want like a custom t shirt, custom shoes, custom anything, it's always going to be more expensive, because it's the actual transformation process is different, because it's cheaper to just create the same product over and over, and like it says here, mass producing the standardized products, rather than customizing it and having different processes, different designs, different colors, different sizes, different functionalities for each of your products and services. Then another performance objective that you have to consider is cost, which is the minimization of expenses so that operations processes are conducted as cheaply as possible. Now, one thing that's really important in business studies is that you can think as much as possible as a business owner. If you're a business owner and you're making a product, you don't want your product, let's say you're going to sell it for $100, you don't want your product to cost you $90 to make, because then you're only making a $10 profit. You want your product to be like $30 to make, and then you keep that $70 product. Even less is even better. So businesses, and their goal is to minimize the expenses as much as possible, and so that they can create the operation, they can have those operations processes and create that product or that service as cheaply as possible, so that they can keep as many profits as possible, because obviously these expenses and the costs are limiting their profits. So now what companies do, they're using these new technologies to lower costs, to use their inputs better, and to minimize wastage. So Mac is, for example, the self-serve checkout. You look at it like it's very advanced technology. Like I said, it's a form of leading edge technology, but that's saving them from hiring workers that they have to pay every single day. They make this one-off payment to get this self-serve checkout. That's replacing workers. Same with Woolworths and Coles. That was such a big debate all over the news, everywhere, in the media, when they brought in the self-serve checkout. It was such a big deal. The only reason they did that, from a money point of view and from a profit point of view, that gets rid of how many workers. There's one worker standing there across up to 10 and more separate checkouts, rather than 10 separate checkout people and 10 workers that they have to pay. So new technologies really do lower costs by replacing wages. Um, Businesses will seek to reduce supplier costs, manage inventories, and manage flexibility, find distribution methods that are time and cost